of downtime to get ready for this one. A long wait till Monday here on ANZAC Day. They head through the banner at Amy Park as the crowd has built just before the ceremony began right here, and it's always a popular fixture. So many New Zealanders in this part of the world. So many of them have made their name with the Melbourne Storm, as we mentioned. The Bromwich brothers, you saw Jerome Hughes, the emotion of Nelson Asava-Solomona through the anthems as well. And Jazz Tabunga back into the starting side. He's missed the last couple of weeks. Wade Egan has been very good in the hooking role and one of the real excitement machines of the league. And Reece Walsh, the teenager, at the back. The big fella, Adam Fanua-Blake, up front along with Matt Lodge. Trying to do a job tonight, and they'll need to against the Bromwich brothers. Asava-Solomona, Brandon Smith when he hits the field. Kafusi as well, and this fella was dynamic, unbelievable last week. Munster against the Sharks. We're underway on ANZAC Day evening in Melbourne. It's Lodge to bring it out, net just beyond the 10. And a fair reception committee there to stop him through Kafusi and also Jesse Bromwich. There is Ed Cozy. Comes midfield. Picks up around about 10 metres as well as Egan from dummy half. Here goes to Johnson. Josh Curran without the headgear tonight, playing on this right-hand side of the field in a reshuffled forward pack. With Tabunga going back to the middle. Here's Fanua-Blake. Runs away from Grant. Met there by Asava-Solomona and also King. 2 plays remaining in this opening set. Good meters here for the Warriors. With an exclamation mark with Wade Egan picking up 15 right there. Here is Harris Tavita. Kicks towards the corner. Promising opening set for the Warriors. Will slip there at the northern end by Pappenhausen. And he'll play it here just outside the Melbourne 10.
Nice little show and go there from Wade Egan, just opening the Melbourne Storm up. Not very often the Melbourne Storm give up a line break in the first set. We'll see what that means as the game goes on. Coates with the ball now.
Play it there with Meany just outside his 20. Here is Bromwich. Stopped by Johnson and also Lodge. 2 plays remaining in this set. Munster feigning a kick from inside the 40. Have a chance for Bromwich to take some extra metres and bring it back here to the halfway line. Olam goes back to Munster, looking for a floating kick. It's end over end, in fact, coming forward. An awkward one to handle there for Kosi. He makes the catch just outside the 20 and did very well in the end. Awkward one to handle.
There was no doubt when he was halfway to the ball there, he was thinking, I'll let this bounce, and then decided I better get there on the full and had to get to it very quickly. And you're right, did well in the end to make sure he saved it.
Not as many metres in this set after they did so well in that opening set. Johnson some width here though. Curran, a little shake and bake attempt. Munster wasn't falling for anything there, and Bromwich, Kenny around the legs. They'll stop him. Slow play the ball on the last here, so Munster will put some pressure on Walsh with the clearing kick. They'll go down to Coates. The bobbles have hit his chest, but he brings it back here, the big rangy winger. And they'll begin 25 short of the halfway line.
A nice start to both sides. Pretty simple, but they've both got to their kick, and obviously with the Warriors they've had 2 different kickers their first 2 kicks, and Sean Johnson taking a back seat in that department.
First he gets to his feet to play it here. Harry Grant comes to Jesse Bromwich. We go downstairs to our sideline eye tonight. Jake Duke.
Good evening, gentlemen. What an atmosphere here on the sideline for this traditional ANZAC Day clash. A close to capacity crowd, about 24,000 fans expected here for this one. Not a drop of rain all day, no wind. Perfect conditions for the footy. A big assignment for the Warriors. They haven't beaten the Storm here on ANZAC Day since 2014, trying to turn that around tonight.
And it's a long time between drinks. Here's a kick, an awkward one to handle here. Pappenhausen, a second kick along the ground and coming across Harris Tavita to clean it up and play it. The Warriors under pressure here, working it away from their own goal line. Took a risk with the kick, the Melbourne Storm, but it came down inside the touchline. Very tough here for the Warriors to work it away from a corner. 3 plays gone. Arthur's going backwards. They're still inside their own 10. Walsh comes back to the middle here. Kosey again a carry. They're up to meet him. Need a massive play right here, otherwise they'll be kicking from inside their own 20. Lodge takes it forward. On the angle, bumps away from Munster. Looking for a quick play the ball. That's a good run and play the ball from Matt Lodge. Walsh got them out of some sort of trouble. The kick is going to hit the turf until Coates is determined to get there and make the catch on the full, and he's done very well for his team.
Well, he has, under all sorts of pressure there, the Warriors. Matt Lodge. It took Lodge to go wide and run over the top of Munster and get a quick play the ball for the Warriors to get any sort of clearance.
Pappenhausen jumping out of dummy half. The markers staying with him there in Arthurs and also Johnson. And Melbourne inside the 30. Grant out of dummy half. Sweating on a quick play the ball. The electric when he gets the chance, and here he goes himself. Looking with Pappenhausen, trying to hit and spin. Egan was downstairs for a blank over the top. Some help there from Curran also. Last play for Melbourne. It goes to Munster. Numbers on this right-hand side. Kafusi can't get it away. Munster will kick it into the legs there of Walsh, who recovers and flops on the ball. The Warriors hang on. They were short on that left-hand side.
Yeah, they were very, very short, Warren. They just couldn't get it. They didn't have the depth to get, and the shape to get it to their outside men. But credit to the Warriors. They got up. They knew they were short. They just paddled when they got up there and made the Storm play rather than go up and make the decision early for them, let them pass around them.
Now, I'm surprised they didn't put the crossfield kick in because they were horribly short there. He ended up hitting the lead runner, Felice Kafusi. Probably wasn't enough shape to throw the pass.
Randy, I always like watching the Storm early because you get a good gauge of what their tactics and plans are. They've kicked both times down the Warriors' right edge, and also they've taken on a lot of short sides down that right edge.
Just watch it again there. The pass finds Kafusi, but the kick into the legs of Walsh. But the Warriors out of trouble. They got the penalty off the back of that, and now to Vunga. Playing it there for Egan. Johnson puts it on the inside for Lodge. Good tackle downstairs made by Harry Grant in particular. Egan out of dummy half. Johnson, Walsh has them backpedaling. The pass hits the turf though. He was taken high. Justin Olam very apologetic there for the contact. And the Warriors get a second straight penalty.
Example of the speed on Reece Walsh there, just to get on the outside and create half a chance. Jesse Arthur's on his outside. That's the situation you want to continue to give Reece Walsh.
Brandy is all set up by the carry from Matt Lodge. He got turned under by Sean Johnson and poked his nose through the line, was up and down really quick, which allowed him time and space down that edge.
He's made 4 runs and they've all been impressive runs. Matt Lodge, good to get him back after he missed last week against the Roosters.
There will be an HIA replacement here in a moment. Brandon Smith poised to join the action. We've had just over 7 minutes of play. It's Harris DeVita back on the inside for Tavunga. King was there to stop him with the help of Asava Solomona. Under the uprights, Egan. Wide ball, Johnson over the top. Chance here. I tell you, Lesniak loses his footing. It is very soft, and the turf is giving at this northern end of Amy Park. And Cup goes to Egan. Johnson. Players in motion around him. Harris DeVita. The wide ball. Walsh. Oh, lovely ball for Kosey, which he puts down. Now there's a problem. Pappenhausen finds Hughes, the speedster. He's away. Coming across. Well, Peter Lesniak won't get there. And Melbourne go 100 metres to score the opening try on ANZAC Day.
Wow, what a counter-attack there from the Melbourne Storm. Ed Kosey was a chance. He had Ryan Pappenhausen in front of him. He's a big man, Kosey, so we'll never know what would have happened if he had have caught the ball, but they created the numbers down on the left side there. Kosey just drops back a bit. Xavier Coates comes running in, as he does, and then it was Hughes and Pappenhausen. He scoops the ball up, Pappenhausen, too quick for Pompey, and then once he got the ball, Jerome Hughes, underrated how quick he is, and was able to hold his speed there for 60 metres. What a counter-attack from him.
Yeah, and Brandy, it's a defensive structure of the Melbourne Storm. They're quite happy to let you get around them, but you've got to know that Pappenhausen is coming across that back at speed. and he had Hughes coming across to defend there as well. And if you're good enough to get to the corner, well, they're happy with it. But on that occasion, the ball was a little bit out in front, and that man, Pappenhausen, picks it up and finds his halfback, who's got some wheels on him as well.
Yeah, he has got some. He's got long-term speed, like he can carry that speed over a long distance, Hughes. And of course, a former fullback with a great running game, but the speed of Pappenhausen combined with Hughes just too much for the Warriors. The cover defence couldn't get there, but the Warriors created a chance. Shane, they opened them up down that left side, and they can do that with Xavier Coates, who loves to run up quick, jam in, get in between the passer and the man that's intended to get the ball.
Pappenhausen from a couple of metres in from the touchline. Took some time to confirm that try. They were checking a bump back on the inside, but there was no problem because Xavier Coates pushing up was a support player behind the ball. Pappenhausen here, bending it back, hits the upright and stays out. Melbourne lead on ANZAC Day evening, 4-0 downstairs to Jake.
Yeah, you noted before was that Brandon Smith was about to come on very early into the game. He is on that field because Nelson Asafa-Solomona has picked up a hamstring complaint. So he is off the field at the moment, which is a big blow for the Melbourne Storm, considering what go forward he gives them. But Brandon Smith into the game very quickly.
He started in the front row last week with Jesse Bromwich out of action, and also Kenny Bromwich, of course, with their COVID protocol. So into a middle forward role once again. Brandon Smith with Harry Grant out there. They are the elite 1-2 punch from dummy half when they get the chance. And Smith, with his quick play the balls, can give Grant a real chance here. With Melbourne on top early after the Warriors blow a chance. Casey puts the ball down. Pappenhausen picks up the crumbs, and Jerome Hughes, last year's Spirit of ANZAC medal winner, goes the rest of the way to make it 4-0. It's King. Take it forward here to Ewan Aiken. Just inside the 20. He was sensational in the win last year. Jerome Hughes, 4 try assists, 3 line breaks, 115 metres running. And a big play to score the opening points of the game here tonight. Smith in the middle of the field, going to Munster. Comes away to Owen, big fend. Gets a pass away, back on the inside for Munster. Looking for Pappenhausen. He had a finger in the air saying, "I'm here." He just couldn't link with him. They're still rolling. Here is Pappenhausen for Grant. Puts a kick in over the top. Intended for Coates. Wasn't the best one he's ever put in.
No, just needed to be a little bit wider. I'm sure that they had them if the kick was executed properly. But down that left side there, Justin Olam with an arm like a steel bar just went out in Jesse Arthur's chest, pushed him over and went over the top of him. Some power running from Olam that we've become accustomed to.
A real scare there for the Warriors. Hadn't considered the first points of the game, but they survived. Walsh loses the ball here. It's picked up by Egan. Harry Grant realised that seemed to be a lack of Melbourne players who realised the ball had gone backwards. And now another penalty against Melbourne. One of those the Warriors' way in the opening exchanges. They'll be on the attack here once again.
Here's the kick from Harry Grant. Well, Ed Cossey was hedging his bet, so he probably would have been able to get there even if the kick was wider. There's the shot from Brandon Smith. Just catching.
Yeah, they didn't clear it.
Maybe for something that happened potentially on the ground, although that contact there on Egan. Yes. So the cheese into the fray straight away. No surprise about that.
It's hard to get away with, I think, these days, Warren.
A lot of cameras in every corner, Shane. And from behind the sky as well. ANZAC Day evening. It's great to once again be able to bring you these images from Amy Park. The Storm against the Warriors. Very much an ANZAC clash as Egan from dummy half goes to Johnson. Here is Lodge. Open them up on that left-hand side of the Warriors' attack. Melbourne's right edge when Casey put the ball down. Here they come again in the same direction. Boy, they're having their issues at this end of the field, both with their feet and their handling, the Warriors. A slippery surface tonight as Harris DeVita from dummy half finds Tavunga. Bit of a conservative play. The ball at the back, though. Back to Egan. Johnson. Lodge. Cut out. Goes to Curran. Goes a step away there from Munster. He's very slippery here. 10 out from the goal line. What a pass. Harris de Vita goes to the Tenny Zalesniak. How quick was that? They catch out Melbourne, and the Warriors have hit back.
Yeah, it was a beautiful little short side play. And Harris de Vita, usually we see him on the left-hand side. He just sneaks around to the right and gets a nice little 3-on-2 and comes up with a beautiful pass to his winger. And he did a really good job to get in that corner. But as we see the replay here, slow to get back. They put 2 on the short side. Pappenhausen doesn't commit. And then a beautiful pass from Tavita. And as I said, he usually plays on the left-hand side, shoots down that right edge, and a lovely finish.
Yeah, Justin Olam's trying to solve the problem as we see the put down by Zalesniak. A nice recovery there from Harris de Vita, who dropped the play before, went over his shoulder. They almost turned the ball over, and then he shifted down that short side very late, Harris de Vita, creating the extra man. And Justin Olam saw him moving and then thought that he'd go at Harris de Vita and try and shut down the pass, where Munster was in and around the play as well. They probably could have solved that defensively if there was a little bit of chat between them, but we know that Olam likes to come screaming out of the line, which he did there, but Harris de Vita was too good for him. Got the ball away and got it away perfectly.
Yeah, and the problem was that Pappenhausen didn't want to commit to that first defender off the ruck. He wanted to get back over and thought they were going to shift to the right, and he didn't really commit and go forward, which he picked up really well, Harris de Vita. Thought he was going to hedge his bets, which he did, and he took it on.
They showed their hand early by coming out to the Warriors' left-hand side, attacking Remus Smith and Xavier Coates, who've had their defensive issues in the past 3 or so games or thereabouts. It's the try on the other side of the field to open things up for the Warriors and make this 4 points all. So they figure the extremities is where you can unpick Melbourne. Success with the second attempt inside the 20. This man has been kicking them beautifully so far this season. Just his second miss in 2022. Walsh is now 18 from 20 overall, and we are 4 all overall here in Melbourne. Watch it again.
Yeah, the close shot doesn't see Harris de Vita just switch from the open really late there and make that extra man, but it was a quality pass from the number 6. 15 minutes into the game, I know there's plenty of time left, but it's important that the Warriors go with the Storm. They don't want to fall 2 tries behind.
Well, they've got to go with him on the scoreboard too, Brandy. They just can't go with him set for set, because the Storm will just hang in there and chip away at that scoreboard. But if you go with him on the scoreboard, you're a real chance.
Once with a fairly regulation restart, has only produced some beauties in recent times. Boy, Harris de Vita there slipping over as well. To get the old-fashioned long screw-in studs out at the break, Brand.
Long gone, those.
Don't see many of those in the modern game, do we? He's really struggling with their footwear here tonight. So Johnson coming back on the inside, trying to target Harry Grant, who again downstairs. Stops him just outside the 30 for Newell Blake. Comes away from King, and meters after contact are always a feature for Newell Blake's game. He's done well here once again. Play 5 to Vunga, picked off there. Harry Grant again throwing his body at Tavunga to stop him. Here is Walsh with the kick on his left-hand side, putting Coates under pressure. Bit big on him. He was able to adjust and take it over his shoulder as a result. He'll play it here again, 25 short of the line. Good set for the Warriors off the back of points.
Yeah, very important that they got through that set and a good kick on the back of it. Never easy when you have to take the ball when you're facing your own try line, but Coates was able to pull that off.
Like the shift to that left-hand side from inside their own territory, Melbourne. Could use that a number of times. Here is Asifa Solomonis testing out that hamstring. Maybe just a bit of tightness there as opposed to the feeling of a strain, perhaps. It's an encouraging sign given what we just saw. The big fella on the sideline. Hughes runs towards Aiken. Taking down in Warriors territory. One more play for Melbourne. Goes back to Munster. Bomb away, a chance for Coates to come down and try and put some pressure here. The kick goal will too big for the coverage coming downfield, and Walsh it is. They'll play it about 15 out from his own line. A rather subdued atmosphere here at Amy Park tonight. Oh, Cosi, another juggle. He somehow reeled that one in just in time. Don't know how on the contact he hung on to it. He's had his heart in his mouth. And now it's Lesniak. Munster one-on-one, ripped that away. He's one of the best in the league, we know that. No chance there. He's given away 6 more plays here, though. Referee saw it. Wasn't a drop by Lesniak.
He is a specialist, that.
Oh, he's certainly the king in these parts. Now Lodge. Out the back, Lodge. Really deep in his left-hand side. Pompey. Finger away there from Remus Smith. They'll stop him, though, at the halfway line. Midway through this restarted set of 6. Ball there from Harris, a bit of Lodge, and now to Vunga. Noah Blake did well to reel that one in one-handed. Well, he's had his moments trying to do that in recent times, hasn't he? Here is Egan. Comes back to the middle. Lodge, quick hands again. Walsh, that pass was okay. Coates did well. Couldn't stop Aitken, though. It comes back to Pompey. Good tackle there by Munster, who's now on the right-hand side of the field. Melbourne had to be short on the other side as a consequence, but the kick goes in behind, and it's Pappenhausen who'll clean it up here just outside Melbourne's 10.
Yeah, Munster tracked in field just following the ball there, and fortunately for the Melbourne Storm, he was there. But you're right, every chance for the Warriors to go back to where Munster should have been. There had to be short numbers.
That was the last play, so they were conservative and put the kick in as opposed to a spread, having gone sideline to sideline in the previous couple of plays. Munster, Meany might have been grabbed before the pass got to him, and that is the call. Melbourne will get the penalty. Arthurs doesn't believe it. Or in fact, they're saying...
I didn't think so, mate.
Then he was tackled without the ball. He was...
Thank you.
Well, I thought he was tackled without the ball, and Melbourne certainly thought so here. So watch it again. Contact there, maybe simultaneous between Arthurs and Meany. Munster in an offside position, plays at the ball, and that's the reason for the penalty. It was tight, wasn't it?
That was close.
Arthurs was convinced the penalty was going against him. And instead it's the Warriors who find the line, and a chance here to come back inside the Melbourne 20. Take the lead from them. It's Fanua Blake, who works it down to the 20. Three in the tackle there. And Smith around the legs. He's metres after contact. Amazing at times. Harris DeVita for Lodge. Grant around the knees once again. Pappenhausen up in the front line with King. Head fake from Egan. Walsh down the short side. Off the legs there of Jerome Hughes, who recovered without knocking it on. A big play by the Melbourne Storm halfback.
Well, you can get success kicking early in the count, and you can catch side short, but you've got to get it right. You've got to get it through the space, and you've got to make sure that it is a genuine try-scoring opportunity.
You have, Brandy, and on that occasion, they see Pappenhausen defending in the line, and all fullbacks do these days when they play the balls, inside their 20. But the art of getting it through, and if you're going to kick early, it's a high-risk play sometimes. But as you said, you've got to get it through.
There's no doubt if you do, it's very hard to defend. Fullback's up in the line. If he gets it through, wingers up flat. You've got plenty of chase there, but if it doesn't get through, well, yeah, no good. Second play, you've just given the ball over. And look where Melbourne are.
Good contest building here at Amy Park. Warren Smith, Greg Alexander, Shane Flanagan, Jake Duke sideline to bring you this one once again. Anzac Day evening, the Storm up against the Warriors. Melbourne here just outside the 30 as Grant waits at dummy half. Comes to Munster. Hughes with Pappenhausen close to him. So a little bit of space there between Harris DeVita and Aitken. But closed. Aitken making the tackle. Deep inside the 20. Grant jumping out of dummy half. He's one of the best at doing it. Grabbed there by Aitken, doubling up on his work. Jesse Bromwich showing it inside, going outside. Now Smith rubbers a chance, but then Lesniak, though, gets there first. And the outside backs of Melbourne didn't realise the kick was coming in, and Lesniak
Double movement to get out.
has been ruled to have been trapped in goal. It's going to be a goal line dropout.
Well, they got lucky there. Oh, I just feel that there's this second time that they've kicked early when they've been down in really good ball, they get a little bit lucky. He does ground the ball in the end goal. The referee's got it 100% right. But once again, I feel that Melbourne should have just ran the football, got tackled, reload again, and play their set out.
As anxious as it. On the coach's box, Craig Bellamy watching on. Every second available to them here before Walsh supplies the dropout. It'll go 50 for Jesse Bromwich to bring it back. Comes towards Tavunga. Plenty of help there. They'll begin here at the 30. 4 points all. 22 gone. It's Josh King. It's been impressive in this one. Forward roll. Back to the left-hand side, Hughes. Now Munster showing it. Nobody falling for a dummy, though. Nathan Brown spoke about that. Would have been drummed into them, especially with Munster during the week, given what he did last week. Here's Smith from close range. The ball hit the turf just before the chalk, though. He plays it quickly. Grant, not a great ball intended for Hughes. Smith cleans up. Stopped there by Harris DeVita and also Aitken. Struggling to get back to his feet. Last play for Melbourne. Hughes, brothers. This one does get through. Casey can't clean it up. Having a nightmare with his hands. And Coates plants it down. Melbourne back in the lead against the Warriors.
Well, the kick probably wasn't good enough to have a try scored against, but Ed Casey just has fumbled the ball all night so far and can't get it dead, can't put it down, can't ground it. Brandon Smith, well, he went awfully close. The pass off Harry Grant found a little bit of space there for him. Jerome Hughes gets the kick right. The spaces were awfully wide there for the Warriors, making it easy for Jerome Hughes to squeeze it through. And then Ed Casey, does he try and knock it dead with his hands, or he should have just fallen on it, or he kicked it, missed it? And Xavier Coates over the top for the try.
Yeah, you got it right, Brandy. They just went down that short side, and they could see a bit of confusion in the Warriors' defensive line. Harris DeVita sort of didn't know whether to get into the line or go back to the other side, and then Reece Walsh didn't put himself in that front line. And Jerome Hughes, just too smart, goes down there. He should be the bloke that's doing all that short kicking. Puts a beautiful little kick in. They would have got a repeat set in if he did handle it, Casey, but unfortunately in the slippery conditions, he comes up with an error and gifts the Melbourne Storm a try.
Sort of mistakes the young players for the Warriors were making in the first couple of weeks. They were 0-2 in a big hole before going on to win 3 straight. Pappenhausen drags one across the face. Don't see him hook one as badly as that too often. Stays at 8 points to 4. Melbourne on top of the Warriors. Back down to you, Jake.
Yeah, really good news for the Melbourne Storm as they cross for another try. Nelson Asafa-Solomona has been cleared to return to this match with that hamstring injury. He actually felt a tweak off the kickoff as he ran down the field. He came immediately off. They've done a number of tests on him here on the sideline, and he has been cleared to return, which is a massive boost for this Melbourne side and what he brings them. Significant hamstrings that Nelson Asafa-Solomona possesses. And good that they've been given the green light by the physios at the Melbourne Storm. 15 out from half-time. Jess Saints and the boys in the studio take you through all the action and the drama at the Sydney Cricket Ground earlier this afternoon. The clash that was between the Dragons and the Roosters. All the highlights from the first half here at Amy Park as well. King brings it back to the 20.
Give it space, Wade.
Nice try there for Melbourne. Casey having anything not so far with his hands. Working away here through Kenny Bromwich. Slow to play the ball as Combs able to hold him down for a long time there. Jesse Bromwich standing. Harry Grant looking to link up there with Pappenhausen. For the Warriors, he wasn't able to because they were sort of numbers on this left-hand side defensively. Now Pappenhausen wants to test them out here again. Smith has one go over his shoulder. It'll be called a knock on.
Just a bit high there from Ryan Pappenhausen, made it tough.
Shot clock's on. Go in the middle, guys.
Bit of dew on the ground. It's slippery. The ball's obviously slippery as well. And the pass isn't out in front, makes it pretty tough.
Craig Bellamy count going for a walk. The tally is 1 for the Knights.
Keep working in here, guys.
Have your pen ready, Brandy. There'll be plenty more before we're done here this evening.
One that we know of.
Well, that's very true. Very true. I guess there might have been one after the back of the try by Wateni Zelezniak, potentially.
Stay bound.
Might be doing Craig a disservice by saying that was his first.
Really good opportunity for here, the Warriors, just to apply some defensive pressure to the Melbourne Storm. Get 2 or 3 sets, make them defend, get a bit of fatigue, try line pressure.
Arthur's battling back to his feet to play it here. To Vanga. Goes towards the 30. Had success. Another edge for the 1 try so far. Front pass there from Harris to beautiful Lodge. Testing things at the advantage line. That was a flat one indeed. Now Harris to Vita again. Johnson under pressure. Throws a no-looker. Straight to Nick Meaney. Nobody in front of him. He's a real speedster. Walsh can scoot as well, but Meaney runs away. A big mistake again by the Warriors. Gifts Melbourne 4 more points. Meaney can't believe it. Melbourne lead 12 points to 4.
Well, it was a catch and no-look pass there by Sean Johnson. Sometimes they come off, but Nick Meaney read it beautifully. Put himself up in the attacking line of the Warriors. Just watch it, Johnson, the pressure from Justin Olam. Didn't get a lot off the pass. It was a floating, awkward spinning pass. Just didn't have the power to get to Zelezniak as quickly as it should. And sat up in the air, made it easy for Nick Meaney. And we're only talking about you don't want the Storm to get 2 tries in front. It was a perfect start to the set. A mistake from Melbourne. Gave them a scrum inside Melbourne's half, but very early in the tackle count, they've offered that up.
But Brady, what happened is the Warriors are setting plays up. They set up that left side. They went to Lodge, and he actually got pushed backwards a metre or 2. It wasn't a quick play of the ball. And the Melbourne Storm were too smart. They knew they were going to shift to their right. They had all the numbers on their right, and they got up in their face and made them play because of that previous play. It was too predictable. You've got to play football there. Look at the Penrith Panthers. They play football all the time. They don't have set-up plays.
One in front, Pappenhausen here will make this 14 points to 4. What was 4 all just a moment ago? Off the back of 2 mistakes by the Warriors, it's suddenly a 10-point lead. Of course, the ANZAC Day, the NRL community coming together to honour and commemorate the generations of Australian servicemen and women who have defended our value and freedoms every ANZAC Day. And the NRL celebrates the tradition of mateship, courage, endurance, discipline. And it's great to be here once again, seeing these 2 teams go at it on ANZAC Day evening. Melbourne on top.
Melbourne do like to offer chances on the edges, on the extreme edges, but you've got to be good enough to take advantage. You can't do it off a slow play.
Agree. And they'll jam hard, and they'll leave one over. They'll leave the winger off the end of the line, but you've got to know that Pappenhausen and their halves are coming hard to the corner. We've seen Billy Slater do it for years and years and years. If you're good enough to get to that corner, good on you, but you know you're going to have some people coming down there defending.
Munster with it here. Jumping out of dummy half, doing what he does so well. Throwing his body at them and saying, stop me if you can. He's walked back to the halfway line just about. Smith for Hughes. An early kick once again. Reading it well, though. Reece Walsh comes across. Ready for his right-hand side boy. Asifa Solomona coming in late in the piece there. Has cleaned up the teenage fullback who is okay. Fortunately there for Asifa Solomona, the way he came in at speed. It's going to be a penalty and no more.
Now they had them on the back foot as we look at the incident with Asifa Solomona just making contact as Reece Walsh was headed to the ground. I think Hughes just got the kick wrong. He wanted it to go in the corner. He ended up kicking it straight to Reece Walsh. He wanted to see the Warriors bring it off their own line from that far left-hand corner.
Foa is out there now for the Warriors, and for all the mistakes they've made to concede this 10-point deficit, here they are with a chance to try and close it up right here. Johnson, the middle blade, comes towards Graham. See how adventurous they are if they're Going to shift it the back of those errors on the edges. Coming to the middle. Johnson kicking here. Sirenin is out there, and so is Egan. An awful bounce for the Melbourne Storm, and Wade Egan pounces. That's how you hit back.
Well, they tried to do the same thing on the other side of the field along the ground with Reece Walsh. Pappenhausen up in the line. This time Johnson goes over the top. Thought it was a better odds kick to go over the defensive line. There's Pappenhausen at a defender, chips it over the top. Sirenin on the chase, a shocking bounce. Otherwise, the Melbourne Storm clean that up. There's three back there.
Is Egan onside? Does he get back? Because he's the dummy half. I think he might be. I think Johnson runs far enough towards the defensive line to put him onside. Yes, he is.
He does. And the bounce certainly favoured Wade Egan, but you make your own luck, and Johnson got the weight of the kick right, landed just short of the try line. The odds to it, with a few Melbourne Storm players around there, favoured them, but Egan gets the bounce.
Well, he learned from the other side. They tried to put it on the ground, as you said, and they couldn't thread the needle. This time he said, well, I'm not going to take that chance. I'll just kick it over the top, and got a beautiful bounce. There was plenty of people, Melbourne Storm players back there to cover the kick, but they got a wicked bounce, or a good bounce for the Warriors, and they're back in.
Johnson makes the error with a catch and pass intercepted by Nick Meaney. Melbourne a 10-point lead. He responds, though. Boy, just continues to back himself, doesn't he, no matter the situation in the game. Such talent that Shaun Johnson has possessed throughout his NRL career. A star now for a decade plus at this level of the game, with a conversion attempt good from Walsh. We're back at 14 points to 10. Game on once again.
And obviously they have, this was part of their game plan. You've got to take calculated risks against the Melbourne Storm. You can't hope to just go through the middle. While we did say that there's chances down the extreme edge, your go forward's got to be good, but that was part of a game plan that they've arrived at Amy Park with. The kick with Pappenhausen as the A defender.
Yeah, that's about the coaching, and during the week they've identified that Pappenhausen comes forward. He's usually on that side to come forward hard, so let's kick him behind him. One they got wrong, but one they come up with points.
There is Bunny-a-Fall going sideways after a big collision off the restart. Dragged there by Grant and King. Brandon Smith was also there. Still just inside their own 20. Shift back to the middle. Miller Blake. There's 5, 6, maybe 7 metres there. The tackle after the contact from Grant, and also Kafusi. Harris DeVita for you and Aitken. The conservative set, you'd imagine, off the back of the points, and given the errors they've made on the extremities. Here is Harris DeVita, though, coming to Bunny-a-Fall. Almost a difficult one there to catch. Point-blank range, but the big fella did well. We're back at the halfway line for Walsh. Plenty of room to kick here. Tumbling end-over-end kick. Difficult one for Coates, who had to go to his knees to come up with it. And he'll play it just outside the 20. 7.5 out from half-time. 3 tries to 2 at this point of the game. Ruining the mistakes they've made, the Warriors, but they've done well to hang tough. Here is Pappenhausen. Right for the most part, apart from that scoop up of the Casey error, and moves away for the first try of the game back in the 8th minute. Asipas Olamona with a test there for that hamstring. Looks to be okay. Flashing around, trying to play it quickly from Munster. Steps back on the inside. Josh King. Nothing doing there. Grant will test out that left edge once again. Munster, the Ruggers. Pressure here on Walsh. Needs to get to the ground, and he throws himself to the turf. Gives up the tackle there, and Olam flops on top of him. Oh, is there a knock on there from Johnson? A little bobble with the left hand, dummy half. Referee was pointing towards something towards the play of the ball, but said it was play on. Here's Casey.
That was a good play. Just get it away from the condensed Melbourne defensive line.
And if they could, Brandy, have one more pass on it, they're round the outside. They just needed one more player or one more pass, and they're down the outside of them.
McKenna is out there now, broken to the NRL with the Melbourne Storm. Big body coming off the bench. It's the kick from Walsh. Just inside the 30. They'll go down here to Coates, who got the traction he was looking for. And the intermediates, not the slicks. They'll play at 10 short of the halfway line.
Interesting tactic to kick the Coates all the time, because he's fantastic under the high ball. He's a real superstar under the high ball, but it's probably more so that they don't want the other bloke on the other side, Olam, on play 2 coming at him. So he's really good on that play 2 side situation. Keep the ball away from him.
What about play forward? This fella coming at you, looking for a quick play to the ball as always, and Grant is there. Finds Hughes at the advantage line. Pappenhausen showing it. Stopped there, a good tackle by Harris to Vita. Quick play the ball though. They come back to Grant. He digs for the line himself. They'll stop him there and hang on, but only just.
Yeah, Pappenhausen just couldn't throw the pass there. His speed worried that Warriors defence on the edge, ended up throwing the dummy and going himself, but the quick play the ball almost provided something there for Harry Grant. But it all started with Brandon Smith. Smith running in behind the dummy half, in behind the play the ball to make his metres.
There's a problem for Harris to be still down on the Warriors goal line here. 2 plays gone. A couple of big carries here. We saw Fanua, Blake and Devunga coming from the field, so that somebody needs to replace what Fanua Blake can do. And here is Bunty Afawa trying to do exactly that. Quick play the ball as well. Another kick from inside the 40 from Walsh. Has a good boot. Looking for a 40-20. Oh, where did it cross? Maybe just outside the 20.
Yeah, just short of getting a result there, Reece Walsh.
Almost a bit of some 70 metres back behind the play, and in all sorts of drama at the moment. The Warriors are a man short in the front line defensively. See how he is in the next couple of plays. Watch this again. Prepared to go with the touch judge and say it crossed just outside the 20.
I think Pappenhausen was thinking about it, playing at it as well, and just judged that it was just going to be about a foot in. He did a really good job in the end. Nice kick. I love when they kick early and put the pressure on the opposition and bring it off their try line.
Solomona playing it from Grant to King, now Munster. It's been well contained to this point by the Warriors, given what he did last week against the Sharks.
Even when he doesn't make a break, though, he's always getting an offload. Very hard to put on the ground, Cameron Munster.
Hughes comes to Pappenhausen. Smith, the juggle there by Coates, who gets away from Kosey. One-on-one here with Walsh. Pappenhausen back on the inside. Will just about slide his way in. Only a metre out. Last play here for Melbourne. It hits the deck. As for Solomona, shuffles it to Hughes. He wants Munster, finds him there. Kenny Bromwich is wide. One-on-one with Arthurs. The pass hits the deck, towed forward by Olam. Here's Walsh bringing it back. I don't know how the Warriors hung on. Kosey beaten point blank again on this left wing, and now there's a problem with Reece Walsh.
He's gone down with plenty of Melbourne Storm players over the top. And you're right, down this right side, Pappenhausen looked like he might have been able to slide his way into the in-goal area, but when they came left and Hughes had the ball in his hands, it certainly looked trouble for the Warriors' defence, but they were able to hang on. 2 minutes short of half-time. They're only down by 4.
It was a real good chase back by Ewan Aiken. He smelt the danger and he got back and made that tackle on Pappenhausen.
Here is Egan from dummy half. It goes to Johnson, who will kick towards the corner. In behind Coates. Pappenhausen coming across will get there first. That was an extravagant dummy. Nobody falling for it. They had visions of driving him back into the in-goal area. And Melbourne will hang on here and work it away from their own line.
That was a smart play, that from Sean Johnson there. Just split the winger and the fullback. Very tough to bring it out of your own corner in these slippery conditions. Reema Smith's got a problem.
I think he just might have come in collision with a knee from it. I don't think there was anything in it, but this is where the Warriors need to steal up. They can't give him a piggyback at the back end. Tackle 4, tackle 5, another set of 6. They need to be really disciplined, roll their sleeves up, be aggressive, and make Melbourne kick from inside their 20 if they can.
Taking a look at it, Jess Yates and the boys not far away at halftime to take you through all of the highlights here from this first half. And Aaron Penne has been placed on report.
You need a bit of time, mate. Okay, you're going to take him off.
Remember Smith still down.
Aaron.
Going for an HIA by the looks of things. Take a look at this once again. He brings it out. Egan is there. Penne over the top. And the shoulder there of Penne as he was going down off the initial contact. Egan hits him and he's dropping into the shoulder. It's a tough one, isn't it, against Penne?
Oh, I disagree. I think that's a penalty every day. You know, you need to be clean. You need to be tidy coming out of there. You know, lower your body, bend your back. There was a place to hit him in underneath the ball there. He didn't bend his back at all. And you know, once again, this is where the Warriors let themselves down. They just piggyback the opposition out of their own end.
Smith will come from the field for an HIA and certainly has a problem with that left eye as well. Agitated up there in the Melbourne Storm box, wondering what the change is going to be. Tyler Wishart is the 18th man. Trent Moreiro, Tepai Moiroa and Chris Lewis. And we'll change players tonight, so we'll wait and see what it means as far as who moves where. Kenny Bromwich quite likely, potentially, to move into an outside back role and Lewis take over as an edge forward.
Could do. Chris Lewis is pretty versatile. He's played a number of positions. It's him with the ball.
See if he takes over. A straight swap at right centre for Remus Smith. Looks to be the case given what we just saw there on the tap. So inside the final 60 seconds, it's Grant who finds Hughes, his muscle. Some depth on his left-hand side. Olam straight past the defence. Stopped there by Johnson and also Walsh. Walsh will be penalised here for some high contact now on Justin Olam. And Cameron Munson thinks he should be sent from the field.
Just a quick go, guys.
Olam went straight past Jesse Arthurs. Walsh
not for the first time tonight.
No. They've had their difficulties on those edges, both right and left of Warriors, stopping the Melbourne Storm outside backs. Point blank miss there, and then Walsh coming forward. He got him high, there's no question about that.
Well, Olam was ducking into it. I don't think it was a shoulder check. I think he actually hit him with his hip. So Olam had ducked under the shoulder and caught him with the hip.
Haven't we got some good left centres playing at the moment? Big Siffer.
Some powerful ones.
Some powerful ones, yeah.
Unfortunately, Brandy, he's not eligible for New South Wales. Looks like Ryan Pappenhausen from out wide is going to try and add 2 points here. Difficult angle. Just outside the 20, only a couple of metres in from touch, with the siren having sounded. Tight one here. The Warriors will be ruining the mistakes they've made, otherwise they probably lead the game.
Well, back-to-back penalties too. In the last 2 minutes, they had the Melbourne Storm on their own line. Remus Smith was bringing the ball off his own line. They've given away back-to-back penalties and now given the Melbourne Storm a chance to go a converted try ahead.
Plenty of support as usual. An Anzac Day evening for the Warriors. You see Sean Johnson there trying to encourage those Warriors fans here. Bending back. Is it enough? Yes, it is. Ryan Pappenhausen says, boys, just zip it. Nice moment between he and Sean Johnson as the teams head to the sheds at halftime. So does the Storm coach. It's Melbourne 16, the Warriors 10. It'll be Reece Walsh to get us back underway. The second half here in this final game of Anzac weekend goes down to Munster to make the catch. And Rasmus Olamona, who came out of the game very early with a twinge in the hamstring, has proven so far that there's no real trouble with it tonight. Kenny Bromwich with the carry. Take it beyond the 30 here. Good start. A shallow restart there by the Warriors to begin this second half. It's Smith. See some space in front of him, and just like that on 3 plays, they're beyond the 40. Grant from dummy half. Comes across to Hughes. Looking inside there for Kafusi. Curran wearing 13, now playing in the middle of the field also. Comes to Munster, turns it back on the inside there, and Asada Solomona takes it deep inside Warriors territory. It's a powerful set of 6 to begin this second half for Melbourne. The kick bounces in no man's land. Munster comes up with it, knocked on by Harry Grant. It looked like still there for King. Play on is the call. Now there's a whistle.
The handover.
And it should be a changeover. The Warriors to begin at their own 10. Do Melbourne want to challenge? It looks as though they do.
On the
Yeah, it was a fantastic set for the Storm.
They
They went up 80 metres and a beautiful little kick in between Reece Walsh, and he didn't want to go forward for it. They got an awful bounce. Here's the kick here. I think they're all onside. Yeah, it's just in no man's land. Just couldn't get to it. And once again, that football bounces back towards the Melbourne Storm. And then there's a bit of a mess up here.
Just watch how well Munster does this. Ball up in the air. He's a long way in the air. Offloads there. Grant. Does Grant get a touch to the ball there?
Off his forearm, no doubt, but onto his lower leg. And then
just looking at the contacts on Harry Grant from Josh Curran. It does happen before Harry
falls down
has come in
behind,
contact
rolls
with
down
the
his
ball.
leg almost.
What the referee's asking for
successful.
is contact with Harry Grant before he actually plays at the ball. So I think it might be a penalty to Melbourne Storm because they've actually come around and tackled or made contact with Harry.
So it'll be a penalty, mate. There's contact made with Harry Grant before he touches the ball. So it'll be a penalty just here.
Flano.
Penalty to Storm, mate.
It was only slight contact, but it was enough just to put him off.
So you're just going to wait till he,
now Josh Curran, probably with his lower leg last week in the loss to the Roosters. That was a recurrence of the same injury, a blow to that lower right leg, and
It was down on his shin last week, whereas this looks like a knee.
yeah, it was more a cork that he suffered last week, but that looks a bit more intense, doesn't it? Whatever he's feeling right there. So issues for the Warriors. It'll give, of course, Ryan Pappenhausen the chance to kick a penalty goal here and make this an 8-point lead. Watch it again.
That's where Curran gets that left leg at an awkward angle. And it was Curran who made the contact, just collared Harry Grant.
Bit of a sign of respect for the Warriors here, taking the shot at goal early in on the second half. Some sides would have backed themselves to score a try.
Pappenhausen from a very kickable position adds the extra 2 to make this an 8-point lead. A couple of minutes into the second half. Melbourne 18, the Warriors 10. Still a long way to go in this one. Let's go downstairs to Jake Duke.
Yeah, we're just chasing information on Josh Curran and that injury there. But for Nathan Brown, his message at half-time, he was actually happy with his side's effort. He said, we gifted the Storm 2 tries against the run of play and we're still in it. So they have a lot of confidence out of that as we see Curran just getting his knee and lower leg worked on there. But Craig Bellamy, he wanted his side to respect the ball. And the bad news for them, unfortunately, Ramus Smith ruled out of this match with a HIA. So Chris Lewis will remain in that right centre position.
See if that's something that the Warriors can take advantage of on their left side attack. Craig Bellamy not happy with what he's seeing there in the play the ball from Josh King. He was a very hard taskmaster. Didn't take much to get the coach upset. As Munster works it here towards the 30. Both teams now with players out of action for the time being, as Ramus Smith will be for the remainder of the game, as Jake just told us. Grant here, just outside the 40, eventually. Bit of a buffeting getting back to his feet, and the tackle there of Sirenen, and it has been pinged. There will be 6 more tackles coming up. More pressure to be applied to the Warriors here, especially if this man keeps weaving like that towards them. Another set restart here. It's only one more play. If they were having their line set, just give one away and get yourself sorted defensively. See how they fare here now. King, boy, it's an ice skating rink, this surface here tonight. way to dummy half. Munster at first receive it, little double pump. Kafusi as a result, almost into space. Walsh in front of him, the last line, and slipped over defensively as well. The Warriors hang on. And Munster again is that little double pump of the ball. Brought Kafusi onto it. There were alarm bells there for the Warriors again.
Well, Munster was quickly over the advantage line. He had the Warriors defence backpedaling. Pompey was going backwards at a rate of knots, which allowed Felice Kafusi the chance to do anything. In the end, they came up with a footy, the Warriors, and have got themselves out of trouble pretty quickly.
Josh Curran, ice underneath. Pass there, maybe a little bit more than flat from Egan. Referee says play on. And they're back in Melbourne territory. Forward to play. Comes across here to Johnson. Kick. Try in the first half. Now they go through the hand. Lieutenant Zelezniak. Here's a kick. Olam will take it out of play. And they've got themselves a goal line dropout.
No, I think you'll find there's a forward pass back on the 20-metre line there.
Go in the middle.
It was a nice ball, but the touchdown stood on his mark and said it was forward.
Well, it was a signature play there from Johnson, who skipped on the outside, dragged in the player. It was Cameron Munster that he dragged in. There was the pass that was called forward. The touch he stopped on the play. But Johnson able to run a little overs play there down that right short side, which created some problems.
And that's what Sean needs to do in this second half. We've also spoke about many times how slippery the conditions are. So that little bit of footwork, Sean skipping up, gets players that they can't get their feet and they can't catch up, and also change the direction. Turning players back under will get you some joy.
Johnson almost lost his feet there, colliding with the referee, and as a result, Munster was one-on-one. And he got caught in an awkward tackle and reacted with Jesse Arthurs on his lower leg there. He gets up limping.
Yeah, he's got an incredible ability to beat a defender, doesn't he? Like they had two good shots at him there, and he came out the other side. We'll try and work this out.
Feels for that left ankle once again as King goes to the line.
See, they're good meters there from the Melbourne Storm.
It's Grant, jumps out of dummy half. Tries to link up with Munster. In fact, just remembering the tackle here, and cuts back to the inside for fear of giving away an obstruction penalty. They've got two left in this set. Smith was very flat there. Hughes, another flat one for Kafusi. One more play now. Grant gets to dummy half. Smith is there. Nothing doing on the left-hand side, so he comes back to the middle of the cheese. Dumps it off for King. Now, Asifa Solomona puts up a kick. Not a bad one. Oh, Pappenhausen comes down with it. Nelson Asifa Solomona, the front rower, puts up one of the bombs of the season.
Well, who would have thought? Big Nelson putting up the ball, but he was caught with it on play 5. There was a couple of offloads there, and all of a sudden Nelson realised that he wasn't going to run anywhere. He better kick the ball. Smith was hemmed in, went back towards the middle of the ruck, ducked under a tackle, offloaded to King. He didn't want it. Nelson's got it, set himself, and Pappenhausen gets to the ball first. Kosi was a long way from it. I don't know what's happened here. Kosi's collided with one of his players, but Pappenhausen, arms above his head, never takes his eye off the ball. Teddy Zelezniak collides. He's out the ground, he's out. Pappenhausen goes to 9 tries, though, the leading try scorer in the NRL. He was level with Taylor May, but grabs another one, and it's another game at Amy Park where he has scored a try consecutively. 10 now for Pappenhausen.
Just keeps racking them up. They need the stretcher here because Teddy Zelezniak still down here, colliding with Bailey Sirinen, who he took down very awkwardly also, but he hasn't moved. Dallin with Teddy Zelezniak.
He collided with Bailey Sirinen, but then as he fell into the knees of Asifa Solomona. That's where the damage was done.
It was an amazing play from Big Nelson. He was actually a dummy half, the previous play of the ball. He gets to dummy half, he throws a beautiful ball out of dummy half, and then it comes back to him later on, and he puts a beautiful kick in. Just amazing.
Zelezniak arrived just too late, and then as he swung around, as he collided there with Yeah, just collects the knee of Asifa Solomona, who was chasing his own kick. Into Sirinen.
So Asifa Solomona coming forward there, trying to jump out of the way. He sees Watene Zelezniak falling towards him and goes to the air to jump over him and collects him flush in the head as a result. Pappenhausen with the celebration. But there is great concern here at the moment for Dallin Watene Zelezniak. Incredible sequence of events. With the ball coming back. Asifa Solomona putting up just the 3rd kick of his career.
I think I remember the other 2.
Was he hooked after the other 2?
Yeah, well, I think it's been a long time in between kicks. Flano.
Yes. Front rowers kicking for tries. I don't think that happens too often.
You see the look of concern on the face of Nelson Asifa Solomona for Dallin Watene Zelezniak.
Now, there was a lot going on. Pappenhausen collided with Zelezniak as they went for the ball. He arrived just fractionally late. Pappenhausen got the first play at it. Then Bailey Sirinen hit Zelezniak, who then fell off and went into the knee of Asifa Solomona.
Off the hip of Sirinen into the knee of Asifa Solomona. Oh boy. He was out, unfortunately, before he hit the turf.
Yeah. 9 tries for the season, though, for Pappenhausen.
The good news is he has consciousness here. The medical staff of both teams out there looking after him. Very much the ANZAC spirit coming to the fore here tonight. And what has been a memorable day right around the country, of course, on both sides of the Tasman Sea. Jazz Tavanga and Aaron Penne there as well. It's going to force a big reshuffle for the Warriors, quite obviously. Josh Curran out of action. And Dallin Watene Zelezniak also. We'll wait and see what they do as far as who moves wider on that side of the field, the right-hand side for the Warriors. And we get a great round of applause here as they take him to the Medicab. Dallin Watene Zelezniak. That could have been, and could still be for the Warriors, no doubt, but up against it here now with a kick to come. Scoreline of 22 points to 10. And Nathan Brown and company in the coach's box wondering what else can go wrong for them tonight. Their concerns quite obviously at the moment for this man on the stretcher. He's a wholehearted player, Brandy. Puts his body on the line with those carries from his own end time and time again, brings it back at warp speed and just throws himself into those collisions. Courage has always been a very big part of his makeup. Good to see he's talking to the officials there.
It is.
The medicos on both staffs and bringing some news in regards to Dallin. Now that we have it from the Warriors dressing room. See him moving his toes there and his legs. That's all great signs. Terrific to see. And his New Zealand Test teammate, very concerned there, watching him being taken from the field. They're big men. They play a very, very tough game. And there's always such great spirit between the combatants. And see that again here tonight. Jake Duke on the case in regards to Dallin Watene Zelezniak and his health. Back on field, Ryan Pappenhausen to try and convert his own try. He scored his 9th of the season. He pilots it between the posts. He It's 24 points to 10. All the points in this second half in the way of home team, the Melbourne Storm. Let's see how it affects Nelson Asifo-Solomona for the moment. Try and put that out of his mind. His kick was pinpoint perfect.
Brandy, just for me, I'd try and get both of the starting front rowers back on, Adam Fanua-Blake and Matt Lodge, because if we wait to the 20-minute mark, this game could be over. But forget about how much time they've got to play. The 31 minutes we know. Just get them out there and see if they can change the game in the Warriors' favour.
Yeah, there's no doubt that Lodge and Fanua-Blake, as they put the ball dead, the Warriors off the kickoff, are the men to bring them back into this game. That's certainly not the start that they wanted.
But they're sitting on the bench,
get them out
watching
there.
All this happen.
I agree. If your plan was to bring them back with 20 minutes to go, that might need to change.
That needs to change because of the scoreboard, unfortunately.
Hughes knew exactly where the dead ball line was.
Got it back there in plenty of time to make the catch and to make contact with the ball. Didn't even have to catch it. There's going to be a penalty back at the halfway line. Here is Asifo-Solomona. One of the more remarkable try assists he'll ever have in his career. He'll play it here. Hughes comes to King. Fusi. Far side of the field, taken down there by Harris DeVita. Josh King once again charging at them. There's one try as a Melbourne Storm forward already. Grant. Trick play there for Brandon Smith. Nobody falling for it. Around the play the ball for the Warriors. Aitken was there and so was Tavunga. Now Hughes. On this left-hand side, Munster shows it in, goes out. Over the top they go. They've gone back-to-back. Nick Meaney dives in. As simple as that. A couple of trick shots inside the 20, and they're off and running now.
Well, the Pappenhausen try and goal put them 14 in front. Then from the kickoff, the Warriors get it wrong. They kick it dead. And then down the left side, only halfway through the set, Munster dummies inside and throws the Harbour Bridge pass, just lofts it over the Warriors who are jammed in. There's Bailey Siren out the centres, Jesse Arthur's on the wing. Arthurs went to Bromwich and that left Meaney unmarked and Munster found his man.
Yeah, unfortunately with the injury to Dallin, there's been a change there and they probably haven't defended together too much, but they should have done better. But as you said, Brent, it all goes back to the kick-off. You've got to get that right at this level. You can't give Melbourne field position, otherwise they just capitalise on it more than often than not.
It's a bit like the game last week against the Sharks. The Melbourne Storm was a real contest for a while there until Melbourne just pour away from them in the second half and win that one 34 points to 18. As it turns out, they just play the big moments so well, and they get a chance there to make the Warriors pay for the mistake off the kickoff. And Munster with players in motion around him, drawing attention to everybody bar the man the ball was going to. Meaney with a clean passage to the line.
Yeah, tough ask. Jesse Arthurs has played plenty of wing, but he wouldn't have worked with Bailey Siren in the centres, I would say, very often. Might have done it at training, but certainly not in a game.
And that's the professionalism of the Melbourne Storm also, to recognise that straight away. We're going down that left edge.
Pappenhausen, it goes over the black dot from out there on the sideline. What was 16-10 at the break very quickly has become a 20-point game. Melbourne 30, the Warriors 10.
Nick Meaney grabbing the intercept in the first half. The Warriors got themselves back in the game, but it was back-to-back tries in the opening 40, and now it's back-to-back tries very early in the second half. Pappenhausen followed by Nick Meaney's second. To give the Melbourne Storm now a 20-point lead. And just looking at the scoreboard tally, point scoring tally, sorry. Brian Pappenhausen now with that goal, 20 points clear of the next, Mitch Moses.
Having a big season, as are the Storm once again. Live ladder has them with 6 wins and 1 loss to be on 12 points, just the 2 points behind the reigning premiers, the still undefeated Panthers, who were very impressive yesterday against the Raiders. The Warriors sitting just outside the 8 coming into this game, staying there in 9th on 6 points. And now it's Pappenhausen links up with Kenny Bromwich. They're back at the halfway line already. It's Grant. Comes back to Munster. 4-3-60. There's a wallowing dervish, and he takes it inside the Warriors 40. Grant on the last play. Looking at his right-hand side, finds King. Goes back to Hughes. He'll bomb away. A chance for Coates. He puts some pressure on Kosey, who's had an awful night. Coates cleans it up. Still there. It's going to be a new set of 6 for the Melbourne Storm. Looking for 3 tries in the space of 4 minutes. Here is Hughes cutting back towards the corner. Lewis waits at dummy half. On ball here for Brandon Smith. Shows it inside, goes to Munster. Here's Pappenhausen this time. Fends away. They're still going Pappenhausen. And he scores his own try tonight. A second one in this second half. And it's all Melbourne. It's an avalanche here at Amy Park, 34-10.
Yeah, 3 tries in the space of 5 minutes, and Pappenhausen, the athletic ability of Pappenhausen, hit the ground a couple of times there, but still able to scramble his way to the try line. Just what a mover he is. Ed Kosey's had a night that he won't want to relive. I don't know if Ed's caught a ball yet tonight. That one cleaned up by Coates. Then they throw it wide, and it's Munster just giving Pappenhausen early ball. He decides to throw the dummy, gets off onto Kolu, and then he bounces his way to the try. Incredible that he travelled 10 metres, virtually a couple of feet off the ground.
There's 2 things I like about this play, Brandy, is that every one of the Melbourne Storm players had a role in that play. They were all moving. They all knew what shape they were running. And then secondly, is that man there. He's not the biggest player and the strongest player, but he just fends and moves, hits the deck, gets back up again, scores the try.
Oh, he has a break. Harry Grant from close range shovels one to the right-hand side and is smiling at his own miss there off the Pappenhausen second try. It stays at 34 points to 10. He's had a little bit of an issue with that ankle from last week. Ryan Pappenhausen, he's coming towards the sideline here and saying, yeah, it doesn't feel so good. He's going to stay in action for the moment. We'll take up a position here on the sideline as opposed to being back on the dead ball line for the restart. Speaking of injuries, let's go downstairs to Jake Duke.
Yeah, boys, good news as we see Josh Curran there on the sideline. His is a possible MCL injury, so his evening is obviously gone and he could be in for a couple of weeks on the sideline. But the good news is Dallin Watini-Zelezniak, he is conscious, he is responsive in the Warriors change room after that nasty head knock. They told me that it did take him a while to come around, but the good news is out of that they are pretty confident that it is a concussion, but no other issues in regards to his face or any fractures like that. So a silver lining for the Warriors, but obviously both men are done for this evening.
That is good news. The man involved in that collision, Asif Solomona, back on the bench riding the bike at the moment. 18 points to 0 in the second half, all in favour of Melbourne in the space of 15 minutes. It's been eventful. There's a big score lines between these two teams on this occasion over the years, and Melbourne might be in the mood to rack up another one here this evening as Grant from dummy half goes to Smith, comes back to Hughes, who bombs away. Why wouldn't you test out Kosey once again? Oh, not given much help there. This will be a penalty though against the Melbourne Storm. Coates coming down the field, shoved a Warriors defender into Kosey. Didn't help his cause in trying to make his first catch of the night. It was Pompey who collided with him, but the penalty goes against Coates.
Yeah, that can be a very dangerous situation when a defender pushes a player into another man. They get very little time to react. All of a sudden they're colliding at speed.
Yeah, well, they're running back as an escort, trying to run them off the football, but it can turn nasty, especially if you get a push and that player catching the ball is still in the air.
Well, Warriors must be wondering how it went from 6-point deficit to now being 24. Here they are as Lodge is back out there. He puts Walsh under all sorts of pressure. Harry Grant right up there in his face as he received the pass, and now they're back just outside their own 40.
Warren, you said it just a minute ago. It was exactly the same in the Sharks game. All of a sudden, blink of an eyelid, they've put 2 tries on.
As quickly as that now, Jastavunga stays down here. Perhaps hoping there might have been something that the bunker can look at to provide a penalty for the Warriors.
Well, they've scored 20 points in 15 minutes to open the second half. 16 of those have been scored by Ryan Pappenhausen. Penalty goals and a couple of tries, a couple of conversions.
The Warriors didn't help themselves once again, quite obviously, with Casey putting the ball down. They kicked off out on the form from a restart. Remove the mistakes, the very simple mistakes they've made here tonight. This scoreline is much, much closer. It's Lodge to work it forward. No doubt after the game, Nathan Bennett will be talking about mistakes the Warriors have made to hurt themselves again. Just to emphasise the point, right on cue, a pass behind you and Nathan. They were very flat on that left-hand side, and the pass had to be perfect.
Yeah, well, at the moment, the Warriors are sitting 0 from 3. That's their completion rate. They haven't been able to get through a set this second half.
Yeah, well, we're quite, we spoke about at half-time that the 2 tries were gifted to the Melbourne Storm, and maybe that the Warriors could turn it around in the second half, but they've been their own worst enemy again, and turning points like kicking dead, and then that one there on tackle number 2, just turning the football over, gifting Melbourne Storm field position. You can't do it at the best of times.
It's a little wonder the score is what it is.
They've had 17 minutes and they are still yet to complete a set of 6. Penalty here for mark infringement. I think the call was from Chris Sutton.
All over him in the play, the ball, I think, Warren.
Over here, mate.
They lead by 24. I'm thinking about 2 points from 40 metres out, so a little bit of a chat there between the Brains Trust as to what they're going to work for. Hughes will take them down within 20. Big Melbourne Storm crowd tonight on ANZAC Day, hoping for more points here to really celebrate the occasion with. Smith it is. He takes it down just outside the 10. Grant looking left. Come to the right-hand side, Hughes. The arrow is out there now, runs towards Aitken. Kane was underneath. Egan over the top also. And beside the uprights, Hughes plays in motion again for Munster. We've seen this before. Now it's Munster's turn to throw a dummy. Otakolo has some blood flowing from a cut on the front or somewhere around the hairline. Grant from dummy half. If you give him that much room, he'll take it every time. Try after try in this second half of the Melbourne Storm. They had them battling again. And Harry Grant, if you give him that much space, he'll stroll over and score.
A huge gap between the player, and it was Reece Walsh. If you've got a little man in front of you, Harry Grant will take that player on, and it was Reece Walsh. There was a big space. And it was also another small player. That was Otakolo, just onto the field, but he had to jam in very tight to try and make that tackle. It was all over by then. Once Harry Grant makes contact in that sort of situation.
Well, you could see Harry, before he picked the football up, he was looking at the space, and he couldn't believe his eyes when they actually adjusted out rather than adjust in. And Reece Walsh, he probably should have split it, marker, got himself either one side or the other, but he stood straight in front, didn't commit. Sean Johnson also just had eyes out the back. He should have been organising that right edge. But the Melbourne Storm, if you give him, turn the football over in on the 50-metre line, you can guarantee they're going to have a couple of cracks at you on your try line, and they're just too good. They're disciplined, they're controlled, everyone knows their role, and 99% of the time, everyone does their job 100%.
Last meeting between these two teams in round 14 last year up in Gosford. Storm won 42-16. Before that, round 7. On this occasion, it was 42 points to 20, and here they are again.
It was 14-10 at half-time.
It's now 40-10, Randy.
14-10. We've just ticked over the halfway mark of the second 40 minutes, and they've scored. Well, they've scored 4 tries in 11 minutes, so that the game has disappeared in front of the Warriors' eyes very quickly.
What do you say now if you're Craig Bellamy? Are you wondering about who's out there and who gets an early mark tonight, given what's still to come, of course? They've got some big games ahead of them, Melbourne. Knights next week on the road. Dragons back here at Amy Park. And then in round 10, the blockbuster of blockbusters at Magic Round. The 7:30 game on the Saturday night will be the Melbourne Storm versus the Penrith Panthers. That one should ensure a full house up there at Suncorp during Magic Round. Terrific game in prospect. In round 10, the top two teams in the competition at the moment.
Look at the differences just pop up on the screen there. The differences between the two teams in terms of possession and the run meters are enormous.
Here is Kafusi poking his nose through the line. Pappenhausen's there again. Grubbers. Lewis might have been offside. Coates was okay though, and he gets a room service bounce.
They're just too good. They really are. I know the Warriors have been their own worst enemy in the second half, but the Storm are too good, and they're good enough to take advantage of whatever the Warriors have offered them. And that space and time, and this Brandon Smith just holds up the pass for Felice Kafusi, back on the inside for Pappenhausen. Great play from Pappenhausen. Lewis dropped out. He was fractionally in front of Pappenhausen. Xavier Coates unmarked, just had to wait and had plenty of time to wait to get the good bounce. Didn't have to rush the situation. That's a great kick from Pappenhausen.
Yeah, it's a great kick and a great bounce in the end, but what an advantage to have Brandon Smith in your team is be able to go to the line. He come on early for Big Nelson and played in the middle and carried the football like a front rower. Now he's ball playing to his edge back rower, and that was a pass right into the line. It needed to be caught, and the difference between the Melbourne and the Warriors at the moment is that Warriors dropped those balls. Previous set on the 50-metre line, a pass in contact, they dropped it. Beautiful pass, beautiful kick, and well finished.
The Storm on track to make it 12 straight wins against the Warriors. In the previous 11, they'd outscored them 350 to 118. They're on track to go past 400 points in 12 games against them here tonight. Stack of time left at 18 minutes on the clock, and now Pappenhausen to make this 46 points to 10. They've scored tries in the second half in the 48th minute, 51st, 54th, 59th, and 61st. 5 tries in 13 minutes of game time. Wow. Night out for this man. From the sideline once again. And he'll just bend across the face and stay at 44 points to 10. But watch the second half tries once again. It began, of course, with the Asifa Solomona kick for Pappenhausen. That sent them wild, and they just kept on coming from that.
Yeah, Munster threw a great overhead ball there to Nick Meaney. Pappenhausen scored an individual effort, which was pretty special. Hit the ground, was still able to scramble his way to the try line. Then it was Harry Grant close to the line, offered far too much space for a man like Harry Grant. And then the last one, of course, involved Kafusi, Brandon Smith, Pappenhausen again. He's had the second half, hasn't he, Ryan Pappenhausen, and Xavier Coates just strolls across the try number 5 in the second half.
Moiro again, as he did on the previous restart, just launching himself at the Warriors' defence here. And they're in a mood tonight. They want 50 plus. They brought it up a couple of times against the Warriors in the past. Most recently, ANZAC Day back in 2020, they won 50 points to 6 on that occasion. Go back to 2018, they beat them on ANZAC Day 50 points to 10. There was Remus Smith. That left eye doesn't look too good, but look at his back. And watching on from the bench as Kafusi ends up an awkward tackle here. Last play for the Storm. Munster will kick it towards the corner. And put some pressure here on Arthurs, who's playing on the wing. And was reshuffled back line for the Warriors with Kenny Zalesniak out of action with the concussion. So, they get a chance here to get through a set of 6. They've had barely 10 or 12 play the balls in this second half. We saw a remarkable stat yesterday. The Raiders almost went the entire second half against the Panthers and didn't have a play the ball on the other side of halfway. This is something similar here tonight. Here is Warriors, Walsh, back on the inside for Sirinen. Comes to Bromwich, now Johnson. There's Egan. Johnson there once again. Harris to Vida. Here's some good handling. Aitken. And pulling the toe there by Pompey off a Melbourne Storm player out of Ed Cosi.
Well, it looked good, didn't it? It looked good. The finish was rubbish, but it looked good. They went down the right side. There was plenty of passing in that movement. Sean Johnson involved a few times, and then it got its way out to Pompey. He didn't know where he was kicking.
I bet you he wouldn't have known what tackle credit was either, Brandy. So he should have gone in or got tackled, and then one of their genuine kickers kicked for that set end. That's exactly what they needed in this situation. They've hardly had the football.
Yet to finish the set. At least that was their best. That was their best effort of the second half.
By a long stretch. Here's Moiroa. He got bigger downstairs. He is an absolute fridge at the moment. Now Munster runs there. Stop quickly. Get there once again to make a play on that one. Now Grant tracking sideways. Runs all the way to Harris to Vida. Had him under pressure as well. Might be around the legs to help out. The ball coming free for a moment. Helped out by Harris to Vida. 6 more plays for Melbourne. That's all the Warriors needed. Smith showing it, taking them on himself. Neil Blake under pressure there. Did well to hang on to Brandon Smith. And they've got 5 plays remaining from just outside the 10. Munster. Bromwich comes to Moiroa. The try scorers here tonight. They are queuing up on the other side of the field. Grant goes to the right-hand side. Comes to Pappenhausen out the back. Lewis a juggle. Gave it off to Coates. That was all backwards and okay. They play it there 10 metres out. For Hughes. To link up here with Moiroa. Away from Matt Lodge. Held up though by Fanua Blake. Still only 4 plays gone in this set. Now Pappenhausen over the top. What a pass that was. Coates. He gets another one. Ryan Pappenhausen scoring tries, setting up tries, converting tries, and the 50 will come up here surely in a few moments' time.
Yeah, that's enough, Ryan Pappenhausen. Go and have an early shower. He's done everything tonight. He's been fantastic. He just goes down the short side, realises the Warriors are out on their feet. He just lets it all unfold. He's got time. He lets them make it all the Warriors players make the defensive decision for him. They all come up and in, and he just waits. Beautiful hand, beautiful timing, and spatial awareness. He goes over the top, and a nice finish by Coates. He can't believe it. They got another one untouched.
Just a slight little double pump there from Pappenhausen, just to drag those outside defenders in, which was all that was needed. Xavier Coates again. A couple of easy ones tonight for Xavier Coates. Just strolling across the try line there after a beautiful pass from Pappenhausen. Another try assist, a couple of tries, plenty of goals. A point-scoring feast for the fullback in this second half.
And that first career hat-trick for Xavier Coates as well. Did the right thing, bringing it around pretty much right in front of the uprights. And the party has started. The northern end of AAMI Park is well populated at either end of this stadium. They're making some noise now because they know the half century is about to come up. The 3rd time in 5 ANZAC Day meetings between these 2 teams. It was 50 points back in 2018, 50 again in 2020, and here it is 50 points to 10 tonight in 2022.
Yeah, scored the 2nd try of the night, and that was the kick from Jerome Hughes that just wasn't cleaned up. Again, they're easy ones. He's just in the right place, Xavier Coates. Another kick try off Pappenhausen this time, and then the final one off a beautiful Pappenhausen pass.
But Brandy, even the kick try, he led for that. He knew, he just led. He got down his touchline, and he just made Pappenhausen realise that he gets a kick for him. He led for it, and then the last one, same again, he just led for it. Pappenhausen got the pass to him. He's done a really good job as a winger.
You know Craig Bellamy pretty well, Shane Flanagan. He heard you because the flying mullet gets an early mark along with Kenny Bromwich. I guess no surprise there.
Yeah, he's too valuable to this side. 12 minutes to go, and he has been carrying an injury. I know Craig, doesn't give early marks every week, and he likes his players to stick to it and stick to the plan and play for 80 minutes. So that lower leg injury, I think that's the only reason he's off.
Here they come again. It's Grant. Almost for the air raid. Bumps away there from Jesse Arthurs, and they'll play it inside the Warriors 40 as Grant shows it one way. It's away from Sirinen. Brandon Smith goes through Bromwich. Hughes kicking for Coates again, turning Kosey around. How does this one turn out? Coates is there! He's got 4! Xavier Coates scores 3 tries in 8 minutes and has 4 for the game.
Well, Flano, he didn't have to work that hard for the first 3, but boy, he had to do some work to get that one. Absolutely flew past Ed Kosey. The kick from Jerome Hughes was pinpoint. Just watch it as they move the ball to the right. It was a planned move. There it is. He's standing deep enough to give himself time. He gives him 10 start. Kosey gave up just at the wrong time. Didn't push himself hard enough for the final 5 metres as Xavier Coates blew past him. Ball's getting to the corner. What a put down. What a try.
Brady, you're right. It was a planned set. The whole set was planned, and that's such a skill. And obviously, to be out in the field, whoever called that play that we're going to take 2 or 3 out to that far post, and then we're going to come back and give our winger a chance to do a kick here, it's just so smart. Cooper Cronk used to get them together in previous. He used to get his team and tell them exactly what he wanted next set. But this set here, they went 3, they kick it down the far side, and you talk about a kick is only good as his chase. Well, this one, he never gave up, and he chased right to the end and got a beautiful bounce at the end because he chased so hard.
The ball looked like it was hanging over the touching goal line as he was
waiting
getting
for
there.
him.
As he was getting there and arrived, it used to be a kick for Josh Addo-Carr, and now it's a kick for Xavier Coates.
It's good coaching and on-field leadership. Obviously they've gone to the huddle after the last try and just said this is the sort of set we want. It's easy to talk about it, but execute it like they have is fantastic.
Now Cameron Munster, third kicker used tonight by Melbourne. Harry Grant's been sacked. Cameron Munster hooks one away. Won't matter at the time because it's 54 points to 10. And Xavier Coates is having a red night out here at Amy Park with the lights going off before kick-off tonight. The magnificent ANZAC ceremony once again setting the scene for this clash between the Australian-based team and the normally based New Zealand team. And Otakolo is going to come from the field. If they could take Ed Kosey off the field, some time ago he would have been removed, no question, but they're short-staffed tonight. And it's going to be a tough review of the video for the young winger when he takes a look back and sees the obvious mistakes he's made here this evening. We'll move a cuddle after the game. Oh, speaking of cuddles, there's no cuddling when it's Lodge versus Moiroa. Lodge came again. Munster didn't like it. The boys getting a bit jiggy with it.
Yeah, he's got to get out of there. He put the shot on Moiroa. Now he needs to get out of there, but he had to go back in for that extra bit.
Big Nelson on the sideline said, this is the way they're going to play. Get me back out there.
Huge collision between the two.
Have it, mate. It's control. Yep. Just go back.
It didn't really hit him. There was no contact there, but it didn't need to go in. He was on the ground, or he was on his way to the ground. That's the sort of stuff that's got Lodge in trouble in the past.
Mate, the problem that I have with
a few moments towards the back end of 2021, the situations like this where he just...
Yeah, the tackle's okay. It's the later bit. Everything's been good to this point, mate. Let's keep it tidy for us.
Well, it was almost a flop. Like, it's 2 players on him. There was no contact in the head.
He thought better of it as opposed to going on with it. He didn't go on with the whooshka that it could have been, but from behind. You can understand what they saw from behind, the Melbourne players, why they reacted as they did.
Penalty for stupidity.
As in the process of saying, Shane, we saw a couple of moments at the back end of 2021 with Matt Rodrigue just lost the compass a little bit and did some silly things, and he spoke about that off the back of the game on the Gold Coast in particular. He really came unravelled. He's been pretty good so far in 2022, but the moment there, fortunately, caught himself just in time before he really got himself into some trouble. Here is Jesse Bromwich running towards that man. We'll take it down here just outside the 40. Some strong work over the top there from Lodge. 4 plays gone off the back of the penalty. Grant showing it. Links up with Olin. Johnson was going backwards, going, oh my goodness. There's a Papua New Guinean freight train coming towards me. Slowly back to his feet though, on. Smith down the short side. Grant, he kicks it. Will it be too big? Yes, it will. Just. Reece Walsh praying that was going dead. And for a rare moment, Melbourne don't produce another try in the second half. They've scored 7 tries in this second half so far. Big shot there on Jesse Arthurs, who wore it pretty well. And Moiroa was there to supply it to him as well. Second half possession, 81% for Melbourne.
I've never seen those numbers. I have never seen the numbers. They have completed 1 set, the Warriors. Like that's unbelievable.
1 of 4, Brenny, isn't it?
1 of 4
on the decision of strip.
Prior to this current set, their completion rate in the second half is 1 from 4. And we've had 32.5 minutes of play. It's off the charts. The ball stripped here, or was it just coming free from Jazz Devane?
Not sure. There were some hands in around there, but whether they're trying to strip up.
The motion there from Jesse Bromwich perhaps, but the ball and the arm away from the body there, I think he's entitled to do what he did.
Yeah, I think Jesse might have just had a little flick at the ball just about now.
Hardly a classic strip though. With a hand in the corner or the point of the ball, if you like, and ripping it free from his...
Just looking to see if there's a strip by Melbourne.
They go for too long, don't they?
Well, especially when it's 54
Ball
points
is lost by the Warriors. There's no intent to strip by Melbourne, but it's a loose carry. The challenge is successful.
It has been that kind of night for the Warriors.
Well, it is Anzac Day, and we do toss the coin up in the air.
That's right. That's all that was.
Were you going heads or tails, Flano? Heads or tails?
I went penalty to the Warriors, so I was wrong.
There you go. I'll have your $20, thank you. What about you, Brandy?
Well, I went the other way, of course.
Okay, there you go. There's a lobster for you. We're all square.
Just wait for 2.
Hit him up, spinner.
Stay down for me,
See what the next one brings here.
1 from 5 now.
Amy Parkton, is that right?
Wow.
You're off to the ATM to get some more ammo. Here come the Melbourne Storm. And it's Olin who puts it down. It's the Warriors 1 from 5. I thought you were saying you were 1 from 5 as far as the 2-up goes. Munster for Hughes. He's more than 1 from 5. They're 10 out of 10. What a show from Melbourne tonight. Give them an inch. They'll do a lap around the world.
Well, he scored the first try of the night, Jerome Hughes. I don't know if this will be the last. Still got 7 minutes to go. But a good ball from Munster, and Hughes has that ability. He's a half who's a former fullback, and he knows how to run into space. He just doesn't create space. He can hit the hole as well. Another Warriors error. Justin Olam worries them down that left side, almost skipped on the outside, pushed the ball back, picked up by Meaney, and then Munster, as he does, drifts across the field, waits to drag in Harris Tavita, and then just wrong foots Reece Walsh. Jerome Hughes to run in a, did you say 10 tries now? Is it 10?
In this second half?
Well, it's 8 total. It's 8 in the second half.
It's 11 total.
11 total. Okay. Did you see this happening at half-time?
No, especially when we spoke at half-time about the 2 tries that were actually the Warriors gifted to the Melbourne Storm. If you take them away, it was a real close contest. But, you know, since that, you know, that kick that went dead from the kickoff after the first try of the second half, the Warriors hardly touched the football. They're just so in your face. Cameron Munster, Brandon Smith, and Harry Grant are at you non-stop. And if you don't present the line or don't come up together or just put a space, someone will push into a hole, as we saw there.
And that's what you're seeing happening with the good sides. There's sides that can go with them, and even sides down the bottom of the table can go with these sides for 40 minutes and they can hang in the fight, but then all of a sudden they can't do it for 80. They can't. Some of them can't do it for 60. You know, the Warriors did it for 40 tonight, but then it's gone pear-shaped. To the point where they've completed one set,
and that's the difference between those top 3 or 4 teams, to be able to compete back-to-back sets and don't take your foot off the pedal and play for 80 minutes. And the Sharks learn a lesson. Craig Fitzgibbon said they only play for 60 minutes. They've got to learn to play for 80.
Yeah. And you give a side like this the possession that they've had, and they will score 8 tries.
Knock on here by Moiroa. Wade Egan was in the ejector seat in the contact there as Moiroa brought it out again. Egan went barreling backwards as they came together, and luckily for the Warriors, Moiroa put it down. Just watch it again. There goes Wade Egan, exit stage right, and then Moiroa there. A little bit of help perhaps from UNH, and the ball came free, but they'd use something, the Warriors. To this point of the second half, one completed set from 5 total. Set number 6 here. On the back of the scrum, Johnson. He goes to Reece Walsh. Steps back on the inside there of Owen and also Harry Grant. Inside 5 left in the game as Egan slides sideways from Harris to Vita. Pompey tries to fend away from Lewis. Does well there, filling in at right centre as he is for Remus Smith. Aitken jumps out of dummy half, picked off there by Brandon Smith. They're midway through the set. Lodge. Show to Fanua Blake, but they've got numbers there in the tackle. Spin him around, slow things down. Even here at the back end of the game, they lead by 50. They're still ticking boxes in collisions. Walsh, Grubbers, pressure here on Meany, takes it out of play.
It's a real good point, Warren, what you just said about Melbourne Storm. It's 60-10 with 4 minutes to go, and they're still defending in their systems. They're still having good contact, working hard from the inside, all working together, making their one-on-ones. With 4 minutes to go, it's still important that they don't mess up or miss any tackles or defend poorly.
No, they know why, because that man watching on as they get the result from the short dropout. Here goes Coates, pouring down the field, got away from Lodge, grabbed by Fanua Blake. The most points they've ever scored here at Amy Park, Melbourne, is 64. They beat the Eels back in 2013, 64-4. It's 60-10 here at the moment. Looking for perhaps the most points they've ever scored in a single game right here. 3 minutes remaining. Smith comes to Moiroa. Moiroa going close. Grabbed by Tavunga. Now Smith from dummy half. He finds Kafusi. Hit and spin. Stopped by Harris Tavita. The chant goes up for the Storm as it comes to Hughes. First man option, Jesse Bromwich pouring into space. He'll get one as well. Everybody scores tonight. Their equal biggest score here at Amy Park, and it might be eclipsed with a kick to come.
Well, the Warriors have their best moment of the second half. They get a repeat set, and then Cameron Munster. What has become a weapon for a lot of sides, the short drop kick. Batted back there by Ewan Aitken, straight for the hands of Xavier Coates, who runs 60 metres. 3 plays later, Jesse Bromwich comes up with a bit of footwork. Jerome Hughes hits him short, missed tackle, and carries Reece Walsh into the in-goal area for try number 11.
Can you believe it? Try number 11. Yeah, there's some really poor defence here. Sean Johnson falls off. Reece Walsh has his last crack at him, but it was over the line by then. But once again, the Melbourne Storm, they just don't take their foot off the pedal. They don't give you 1 inch. They just keep working you over till that whistle's blown.
I like the short drop kick. I think it's, you've got to have someone that can get the kick right. We've seen a couple over the weekend go out the full or land short, but
if you've got someone in your team that can do it, and someone like Coates on the wing that can catch and contest the catch, I think it's a big bonus.
And at 60 to 10, it's worth trying.
And also, Brandy, sometimes teams don't like to attack inside that 10 metres.
Well,
they're not as fluent as other teams. Melbourne Storm are pretty good, but a lot of teams like to have some space.
Yeah, that's the bonus of it. Even if you don't get the ball back, you have a team of
inside your 10
with the try line where it can get a bit jammed and uncomfortable.
There's a bit to talk about at full time beyond the end of play here tonight. Jesse Bromwich gets the try, and Jesse Yates and the boys on a big ANZAC day after the drama at the SCG, and then the Melbourne Storm putting on another show here against the Warriors. The most points they've ever scored here at Amy Park, and the most points ever conceded in a single game by the Warriors. It happens to come on the same night right here against the Melbourne Storm, who continue to dominate this ANZAC Day clash between the two clubs.
Can I get to 7?
There's
time.
2
minutes.
A minute 50 remaining. And the 2-up ring, Flano would be saying yes, they can still score. He's looking to get out late. Here is Moiroa.
They'll have a trick shot here late in this tackle count, I think.
No gentleman's agreement here that you put the whip away at the back end of the game and you lead by this many. 56, in fact. They'll be trying to cap it off with one more before stumps. Here is Grant for Munster. He's away into the backfield. Olong versus Walsh. The speedster can't stop the powerhouse from Papua New Guinea. He got it down. The referee says try. That's how you celebrate it here tonight.
What an exclamation mark to finish this match. Surely they haven't got another one in them, but they've travelled 100 metres. Trent Liero slipped over in the in-goal area, and I thought, well, that might put paid to a try to finish with and not see them get 70. But Pappenhausen and Munster just over the advantage line. Harry Grant does his thing, or it was Brandon Smith out of dummy half. Munster kicking out of another tackle. How many tackles has he broken tonight? Cameron Munster, and then the little juggernaut Justin Olam down this left-hand side drags Reece Walsh 5, 6, 7, 8 metres to the try line. Grant it was. Pappenhausen looming up. Munster throws it out to Olam. Pappenhausen's off.
Yeah, and I was hoping that they had the trick shot, and they're 3, they're 9. He's playing 13 at the moment. Went down that short side. Harry Grant just ball back inside to Munster. Beautiful little trick shot. Once again, it's easy to talk about these things, but to get them on the right people, they had 2 players got the same mark. They've made them make 2 tackles back to back. Some beautiful and some smart football.
Nathan Brown is part of this George Illawarra Dragons team, who were beaten 70 points to 10 by the Melbourne Storm at the MCG on a fateful night. Cast your mind back, of course, all the way to 2000, when Anthony Mundine had said about the Melbourne Storm, the Dragons feeling like they were the real premiers. Nathan Brown was part of that team that night. Here we are, 22 years later. He's the coach of the Warriors, and it's 70 points to 10. This, the Melbourne's biggest ever win. Meany can't convert it. They stay locked with that team from 22 years ago at 70 points to 10. What a night it's been for the Melbourne Storm. 10 tries in this second half alone.
Just incredible. Just incredible. 4 or 5 conversions missed too by the Melbourne Storm. We could be talking 80.
That's not a great sign on the Warriors bench also for Josh Curran, who we saw come from the field earlier on with that knee injury. And boy, haven't things changed since he left the field. Well, 25 seconds remaining here still. Here is Moiroa. Boy, Lodge was there, so was Tavanga. The big boys in the middle banging right till the end. He'll play it. He's had 10 of those carries in the second half, Tepai Moiroa. He's earned his money the hard way tonight. Every time they score a try, he says, boy, I've got to do it again. Grant takes it out of play. It's a record-equaling win for the Melbourne Storm here this evening. Another massive scoreline on ANZAC Day. At Amy Park against the Warriors, Xavier Coates grabs 4 tries. Melbourne score 10 second-half tries for 13 in total, and they've beaten the Warriors 70 points to 10.